Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Marcus Rosa, aka Mazuma TV, back at y'all with some more boxing talk, man. I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive day. I'm just chilling, enjoying this beautiful Philadelphia weather, man. I figured I'd tap in with y'all real quick. On the road to 4K, we went into the 3,200 mark. About to hit that 3,300 mark in due time. Shout out to the nation and the mob for making this possible. All right, y'all, we got a few things that we want to discuss today, but we're going to just emphasize this main topic, and that's going to be what's going on between Vergil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis. Now, Jaron Ennis just came off of a spectacular first-round knockout over Mazuma back in October. Vergil Ortiz just followed up this weekend with a dominating, brutalizing knockout victory over Erickson Lubin in the second round over at the Dickey Arena. You know what I'm saying? And, hey, man, you know, a lot of people, a lot of boxing fans, a lot of boxing experts, historians, whatever you want to call them, former fighters, are all clamoring for this fight to happen. Now, Vergil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis' name have been associated with each other since the welterweight days. You know what I mean? Vergil Ortiz had his issues. He couldn't make the weight no more due to health concerns. So, you know, he was no longer able to be at welterweight. And he made a name for himself at 54. Jaron Ennis, you know, he had trouble himself making the weight. So he decided that 154 was his next best move. And, you know, now he has a version of the WBA title making his junior middleweight debut. So, you know, a lot of people are asking for this fight, man. You know, Vergil Ortiz's team has been heavily critical of Jaron Ennis, you know, in the past, saying that, you know, he had the opportunity to fight Vergil on a couple different occasions, and he said no, and they said yes. So, you know, they're pretty much saying that, like, Jaron Ennis don't really want no problems with them. But since then, Jaron Ennis, especially after defeating Luis Malima, he's been extremely passionate about facing Vergil Ortiz. And he's been doing everything he can in order to, you know, make the fight happen. Most recently, just pulling up the Vergil Ortiz's, you know, fight. And shortly after his victory, hopping in the ring and calling him out and letting him know, yo, let's get this popping, let's get to this money. You know what I mean? Your people been talking crazy, and I'm going to make them pay for all the things that they've been saying. So, a lot of people have been hype about the fight. People have been asking for the fight. But the only people in particular that don't really seem too enthused about making this fight happen is Vergil Ortiz's team. And we could take that, you know, we could take that with, you know, Vergil Ortiz's, you know, manager. I think his name is like Rick Marigan or something like that. You know, he came out and has been saying that, you know, if it ain't got 7 zeros, we're not even going to look at it. You know what I mean? So pretty much like come correct. They looking for, he's saying to bring $10 million to the table in order to get a Jaron Ennis fight. We got Oscar De La Hoya coming out saying, oh, you know, Jaron Ennis, he needs to stay home. Yeah, he should stay home. You know, if he sees Vergil in person, he's going to get scared. So yeah, stay home, Boots. So he was acting like he didn't even want Boots in the arena whatsoever. Then, you know, after the fight, you know, Oscar De La Hoya all red and hyped up, and he's like, yeah, Vergil's badass. He has all the cards. You know, Boots, we like pretty much flexing like this A-side talk, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, in my opinion. Because as far as I'm concerned, neither one of them are world champions. They both have, you know, versions of titles, but aren't the full status champion. You feel what I'm saying? Vergil Ortiz has a WBC interim, and I believe, I don't know what the WBA calls it, whether it's a regular title or an interim title, but nonetheless, I think it's safe to say that they're both interim champions, right? So as far as I'm concerned, they're on the same level, and if you want to really bring up numbers, Boots, you know, does the better numbers. So if anybody has, you know, any room to flex in terms of being the A-side, it's Jaron Ennis. You see what I'm saying? The more accomplished fighter. You know, you're talking about somebody who was a lineal champion, you know, had the WBA title, defeating Stanionis, had the IBF title. You know, he was elevated after Crawford was stripped. You know what I'm saying? Defended his titles multiple times. You feel me? So it's like, Vergil hasn't done any of that. He has yet to get a world title. You see what I'm saying? So, it's just really disappointing, in all honesty, that, you know, this fight is at an all-time high in terms of demand. A lot of people are asking for it. You know what I mean? They've expressed interest in the Jaron Ennis fight in the past. They literally don't have anybody lined up at this particular point, but they want to sit here and talk about fighting Errol Spence? Errol Spence? Somebody who's coming off of a multi-year layoff and a knockout loss against Terrence Crawford, who has yet to make his 154 debut? So, you mean to tell me that Boots has to earn his way at 154? because he hasn't fought anybody at 54 yet. You're looking to fight Errol Spence, who has yet to have a fight at 154 pounds and hasn't, really he hasn't beat anybody in the junior middleweight division. So how can you say Jaron Ennis has to earn his way, but Errol Spence doesn't? What? I know that Errol Spence is a name in Texas, and if they were to fight at Texas, yeah, that'll do some numbers. Texas versus Texas in Texas, that makes a lot of financial sense. But don't sit here and come up with these claims. This is Vergil Ortiz's dad, by the way. I forgot to mention him. He said that Boots, he fought a nobody. He got to earn his way, as if, Vergil Ortiz is like this champion in the division. You're not, brother. You're not. You see what I mean? And this is Vergil Ortiz's team really hindering, really hindering, getting in the way of Vergil Ortiz's moves that could really make him the star that they're looking for him to be. You know what I mean? And I understand Boots is a dangerous star. That could be somebody that could possibly fuck up the money for them. And they not in the business to lose money. You feel me? So I get it. But, you know what I mean? It's not just Jaron Ennis that y'all fumbled an opportunity on. Y'all so hell-bent on being these A-side guys. Wanting to have all the cards that y'all blew an opportunity to face Xander Zayas in Puerto Rico for the WBA junior middleweight title of the world. Y'all blew that because y'all was so hell-bent on it being a 50-50 situation, and y'all, it needs to be at a neutral location because, we not going to sit here and just, bend to any champion's demands. It's like, bro, y'all don't have no room to do that at all. So now Xander Zayas just leveled up on y'all stupid asses. You see what I'm saying? Because he grabbed that WBO title, and they're like, oh, well, he didn't fight the guys that I fought. Well, that makes you a motherfucking fool that you fought all these quality names and have yet to get a belt. You're a fool. You fighting these guys with no jewelry on the line. Xander Zayas was able to get that jewelry with doing less work. You got to shout his team out for that. And your team honestly did you a disservice. Your team did you a disservice because if they really cared about making you a champion, and you said after your fight with Lubin that you want all the belts, they're going against what your goals are. Vergil needs to be more hands-on with the business. He needs to be on the front line and letting these people know, you know what I mean? Like, I appreciate what y'all do for me, but I have to take control of my career. You see what I mean? There's no reason why you're not the one that's supposed to be. You're supposed to be the one that's fighting Xander Zayas January 31st in San Juan. Now let's say Xander Zayas was just pump faking. Let's say he really didn't want that fight. Okay, cool. And make you look good, because guess what? He ducking you. You feel me? You ain't even get the nigga the opportunity. You ain't even pull the man card to see if he was bluffing or not. So it really makes me question what Vergil Ortiz's intentions are in reality, because if you're saying you want all the belts, but then, you know what I mean, you being hard to negotiate with, and you're acting like as if, Xander Zayas owes you something. He don't owe you shit. He don't owe you no respect at the negotiation table. You ain't no champion. You ain't no bona fide ticket selling ass nigga. You ain't none of that. So Xander was doing you a favor in all honesty. But, you know what I mean? I said all of that to say, man, I ain't really too optimistic about Vergil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis facing each other anymore, man. I see Bakr Murtazaliev and Josh Kelly. You know what I mean? That's going to be a fight that's going to be promoted by Eddie Hearn. I think that's a great move on Eddie Hearn's part, because I guess based off of him promoting this fight, he could have some options, moving forward with the winner of that fight and possibly line Jaron Ennis up to face the winner of that. You feel what I mean? Barao, he's going to be mixed up. I know that, Jaron Ennis is going to be number one in the WBA, number one in the WBC and all that. But, Sebastian Fundora, if he follows through with the Keith Thurman fight, that's who he'll be fighting once he comes off of this injury. Barao caught up with Xander. Xander caught up with Barao. The Bakr Murtazaliev fight may be the only thing that's available for Boots in order for him to get closer to his goals, which is unifying the division. Vergil Ortiz, I'm sure he will fight Jaron Ennis, but his team has other intentions, and he typically follows what his team wants him to do because he's not really hell-bent on being hands-on with the business. You feel what I mean? So that's what I wanted to get out there, man. I appreciate everybody that came through and showed love. Y'all go ahead, express y'all opinions below. I mean, don't challenge the man, just challenge the argument. Until then, I hope you guys have a blessed, beautiful one. I'm signing off, man. Peace.